Hello there YouTube, it's your boy B3, back with another fantastic action figure review. Today we actually have a really cool custom figure for you. It is this 3D printed Godzilla. Now, honestly, I just got this from a random booth at the Show Me Reptiles Expo here in Atlanta. I go to all of the local reptile expos whenever I can. But also, the expos, it's sometimes it's hard to remember who everybody is. I always go to Show Me Reptiles because my friends at Alimony Hobbies are always there. That's who I get a lot of my critters from for Safari Sam, actually, quite factually. But this, I got at the expo. I actually saw one with pink spines. First, they had a pink spine and a blue spine, and I was like, oh, I'll get the pink spine. It's very Godzilla evolved. And then I walked by later, and they had a ton of colors out. I was like, whoa, what's up with this? And so they were like, oh, well, if you like a different color, you can get a different color. They were fine with that, and they let me pick these beautiful sunset spines, because you know I am a sucker for the sunset colors. It's very Godzilla vs. Megaguirus, too, in a way. But yeah, this is a really nice 3D printed Godzilla. But I was trying to say a second ago and got tongue-tied on is I don't know if they made this design or if they used someone else's file to make it. But it's pretty cool. You can see a lot of legendary, like MonsterVerse Godzilla influence in it. With the tiny little head and, you know, it's got a lot of MonsterVerse stuff going on. I like the kind of spikes on the tail. That's really nice. But it's also definitely only MonsterVerse inspired. There's a lot of other stuff going on here. But yeah, heavily MonsterVerse inspired in the sculpt. But you can see lots of cool osteoderms and plating on this guy. Really cool. Really cool. And the spines are a separate piece that's printed in different colors and then put on the Godzilla afterwards, clearly. But I really like the sunset color. They had green and everything too, like the new IDW Godzilla and the new Japanese Godzilla, actually. So they were kind of ahead of the game on that. But you know, I'm a sucker for those sunset colors. Really had to have that. No articulation or packaging or anything because it's just a custom 3D printed figure. But it's got some nice details and I really like it. So now we're going to move on to size comparisons for our 3D printed Godzilla. First up, a domestic figure, the Playmates Toys Godzilla Terrestris. Pretty cool. Obviously this is a shorter but longer Godzilla, but hey, I think it works. I think it's fun. So already it looks like this guy's going to scale well with some 6-inch Godzillas, like the NECA 2019 King of the Monsters Godzilla, who this one I feel like is heavily based on. Alright, that looks pretty cool. That looks pretty nice. Very similar proportions. Really excellent. My cat keeps opening the door. My roommate doesn't want to hear me making these videos, Natty. And then another Godzilla with the movie monster series, Godzilla Filius. That's pretty cool too. So it's going well with 6-inch Godzilla figures. And that makes me really happy. So now let's show some stuff that's not Godzilla. What's the point in having a Godzilla figure if you don't have a foe for them to battle? So here's the YMSF Gabara. Well, I do feel this Gabara might be a teensy bit big. This is, you have to remember, a suitmation monster versus something that's modeled more after a CGI monster that they use motion capture for. So, yeah, I think it could work. Yoink. Though the proportions might seem a little weird, admittedly. Here's the 1999 Ultra Monster Series King of Mons, so they can fight for that King of the Monsters title. I think he works great with this bigger, kind of older Ultra Monster Series figure. That's really nice. Let's move you to the side so that we can get an Ultraman out here. Here's the Ultra Hero Series 500 Ultraman Ginga Sturm. And I do think that these Spark Doll-sized Ultramen actually scale better with the 6-inch Kaiju than the older, larger Ultramen, though the older, larger Ultramen often have better detail and paint. So if we move this guy to the side, we can show one of those beautiful, larger Ultramen with the 2006 Ultra Hero Series Hunter Knight Sarugi. which is of course just Ultraman Hikari's armored form. See, he just feels too big with this Godzilla, right? So they're both 6-inch figures, but he feels too big. And he's got a little something hanging there. There we go. And then also there are the Spark Doll sized Ultra Monster series figures, like this Ultra Monster series Alien Bolton. Godzilla could kick him like a soccer ball, you know, if he could even get his hands on him. This is a reality warping entity, so not really a Seijin you want to mess with, if possible. And then last but definitely not least, I want to show a dinosaur, because so many kaiju, including Godzilla, are heavily based on dinosaurs. So here's the Safari Limited 2021 Spinosaurus. If you display your kaiju and dinos together like I do, this will hopefully be a big help for you. So all in all, what are my final thoughts on this sunset-spined 3D printed Godzilla that I got at a Reptile Expo? Pretty cool. If you search 3D printed Godzilla online, I'm sure you can find probably a file or a printing of this figure, though I'm not sure if you'll be able to find the exact same spine color, because that could very well have just been that. Or if you live here in Atlanta or Georgia, you can go to the Show Me Reptiles Expo. I promise this is not a sponsorship. If Show Me Reptiles Expo wanted to sponsor me, I would have them sponsor a Safari Sam, but they wouldn't because I don't get any views. But yeah, it's a neat, unique piece for my collection. I really like it. I like the colors. I like the sculpt. It's really fun. It ran me about $20, I think. Really neat little guy. So that is it. Thank you all once again for your support. Remember to rate, comment, subscribe. Check out all the cool links down below. And I'll see you all next time. Bye for now.